back. God, it's been forever.
It's been a couple weeks.
It's been 3 weeks.
Couple weeks.
I was not ready last weekend.
None of us were ready last weekend.
Yeah.
Video games used to be in my life.
Well, they still are. I think we were playing different video games.
Yeah, that is a problem, I suppose.
So, no one wanted to play the video game that requires concentration.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks.
Okay. Perhaps we should introduce ourselves.
Oh, maybe.
For listeners at home.
All right, my name's Matt. Welcome to the show. This is Bad Playstyle. We played Quadrilateral Cowboy. Holy shit!
Yeah, buddy, get in it.
These are my ever-loving compatriots,
Keenan
and
Owen.
there we go. Again, we played Quadrilateral Cowboy. If you don't want the game spoiled, go away.
Yeah. In every episode of this podcast, we spoil every single game that exists.
Although,
to the best of our ability.
yeah, to the best of our ability. Which this week, God, our ability, not very much. None of us beat the game. We were discussing earlier. None of us finished the game. Which, we're not going to do that either. Like, fuck off. So how, this game is interesting.
It is.
I'm glad you picked it, but also, Owen, I hate you for picking this.
Yeah.
Should we do the talk about what we played first?
Should we do that first?
Isn't that first usually?
Yeah, it usually is. So this week we're
Okay.
going to talk about Quadrilateral Cowboy, what we played for the past 3 weeks, which, holy shit, that's going to be a lot of stuff. Hold on, I need to execute Owen for making a noise during the podcast. No,
I don't even like having notification noises on my tablet, but sometimes I turn them on by accident.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
My noises are off. We're good.
So I don't have to kill you?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you could try.
Bigger than you.
Yeah.
Whatever. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, and then we're going to talk about the thing that happened with Persona 5.
Oh.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Fuck the police.
Fuck the police. Yeah, Keenan, talk about your shit.
Talk about my shit.
You always remember this the best.
Talk about my
I'm always
shit.
like, I played one game in the past 3 weeks, and then I go home and look at Steam, and I'm like, no, you played like 15 games. you
So,
idiot.
I made a personal voyage back into League of Legends, and I was
I
driving...
watched that whole thing. It was awful.
I was driving home last night, and I was like, I played 2 games of LoL this week after months, and those weren't fun. I'm not doing that again. I might play it with some friends or whatever, but I'm pretty much over it, which is good. And then I also
When you say over it, like, you're done with LoL and you'll never touch it again.
Like I said, I might play it with friends again, but like I'm not trying to solo grind. I'm not trying to play 40-minute games that just make me mad.
Yeah, for the longest time,
not how King
I tried
County
to
raised
get you
me.
to stop playing that game because it wasn't good for anyone.
Yeah,
that you
no.
were playing this game.
And like
So-
my stress level went up significantly from 2 games of playing that game. So fuck it.
Yeah.
I played a little ranked Heroes of the Swarm, whatever, HOTS.
Heart of the Swarm.
Heart of the Heroes, yeah. I played a little ranked of that, and it is way, way less stressful than League of Legends.
Yeah.
So, like, if I feel competitive, I think I'll jump into that.
It's like even when you're losing, you still feel like you're executing your character properly.
Right, yeah, like,
Instead
the game
of that
doesn't
you're just like a complete idiot.
kick me in the dick all the time. I've been playing a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is this big, beautiful, pre-alpha mess of a game where...
Now, when you say beautiful, like, define that.
It runs really well for being a pre-alpha.
Okay.
Like this game has no right to function this well when you call it pre-alpha. It's kind of hilariously bad around the edges because it's awful at spectator mode to the point where sound doesn't work in spectator mode when you're watching your friends play after you've died. Everything when you are the player in control of your character works.
Alright.
Can I posit the notion that the term pre-alpha is meaningless?
It absolutely is.
That in today's landscape of games, it doesn't actually mean anything.
Sure. Like, I've played beta games for multiple years.
Right. No, like,
right?
the point is this game is underbaked, right? It's not where they planned on it
but
being.
that's the only point, though, is that every single game that comes out is underbaked.
Yeah.
Right? Like...
But like,
well, and also like there's no distinction between alpha and beta.
Yeah.
It's either early access or it ain't.
right.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's why Steam just says early access.
It's functioning excellently for an early access game that has only been out a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Sure.
A concept of the game is like battle royale. You get dropped on an island with nothing, and then you scavenge weapons and kill people, and the play area gets smaller and smaller due to a mysterious force field that kills you if you're outside of it.
I was about to ask what it was.
Yes, it's a big blue electrical force field.
I was really hoping the island is just sinking.
It just like swoops in on you. That'd be cool, but probably really hard to calculate.
But like you could, well, no, you could just have the water go up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could like design the level in a cool way so that it becomes a completely different playscape, like later in the game.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, the whole thing is it's always in the same island, but the point's always different. Right.
Yeah, so it changes where it's like
They just
closing
did
in on.
like in a really simple way. So
It's pretty cool.
Whatever, my game's gonna be better.
Okay.
And then the thing that I really like.
That's the thing is that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is already that statement made manifest into a game.
So no, it's the third version of the game that guy's made.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he made an
It's
Arma
like,
mod.
whatever, I'm gonna
He
make
made
it
this
better.
other thing, and then he was like, "I'm tired of this thing. I'm doing this."
Yeah.
But it functions really well. The thing that I really like about it is that if I die, I can hop back into another game because there's so many people playing that matchmaking just happens like immediately. And then it's also really smart because they have solo, duo, and squad queues of 4 or less.
That's cool.
And it automatically populates games with similar groups.
Cool.
So like in a solo game, you never have a duo running around just dunking on fools because they can communicate and work together.
Mm-hmm.
In a solo game, it's all like renegade assholes. Whereas a duo game is a bunch of 2-man squads, and then squad games are 2 to 4. And so, yeah, it's cool because like there's expectations there.
Bothers me, and not because I don't like it or I don't think people should play it, but I don't understand at what point fun is derived. Because I watched Keenan play this game, and he ran around for 20 minutes, being like real like tense and like collecting shit off the floor.
Yeah.
And then just got shot from a direction that he would never ever have been able to anticipate.
No, knowing
Right.
where you're getting shot from is really
And
hard.
it's just like that doesn't seem like fun. But then
So-
like this is also like me, Matthew, does not enjoy horror movies.
Right.
So like the same thing. I don't enjoy that feeling, I guess. So maybe people who play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds are teenagers who pay $14 for a horror movie are not going to remember the next day. You know what I mean? Like,
So like it's fun because every once in a while you get that one game where you get the drop on like 3 people and you totally wreck them, and then you make it into like top 10, and you're like, all right, I'm somewhat proficient at this game.
That's the other thing is there's 100 people in each match.
Yeah.
Right. And of the 4 or 5 matches
That's
I've
like
watched,
a technical feat in itself.
yeah, no, and that's like
Having a multiplayer
no,
match with 100 people
like I
in
said,
it.
I think this game is cool.
Yeah.
Right? I think people should play this game. I'm just confused as to at what point resource fun is extracted from like the mineral pile that is this game, right? So like again, like Keenan played the game, and I've watched like 4 or 5 matches, and most of the time it's like, okay, he sees like 2 people.
right. In a 20 or 30
In
minute
a 20 or 30 minute game, he sees 2 people. One of those people he kills or wounds, and then the other one kills him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's a lot more fun with friends, like, because then you can communicate
sure,
and like
I've
totally
seen you
dunk
like
on dudes.
running around with the 4-person squad, but I've seen like the same thing
Yeah,
happen,
you know, like
just on a larger scale.
the thing with that game is you can't have an expectation that you're like, I'm gonna walk in and be a badass.
No, like
because everyone's on level playing field.
I don't
like,
think anyone's going into the game being like, I'm just gonna kill 100 people. I don't think anyone's...
And the way the damage model in that game works, that's not feasible.
Yeah,
like,
I just don't understand.
So like when you talk about the damage model, like, am I meant to understand that this is a game that has a similar philosophy about how shooters should be designed as, like, say, Arma?
so yeah, like the guy
There's a
originally
lot
made
of
an Arma
shit
mod.
going on because
Okay.
that's the other thing is I watched Beagle of Beagle Rush, right? And the 2 games he plays for the most part are XCOM and Arma.
Okay.
And that's like a lot of that you notice like a lot of his Arma buddies show up in XCOM playthroughs. It's what you know, you get the weird AWO, things like that. but I've watched some of his videos where he puts up like Arma stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and the majority of the time they're just sort of like jobbing around with their friends in a combat zone. Like they're not doing anything.
Yeah, no, that's
right.
And I think the expanse of Arma has been brought to this game.
It's actually kind of interesting because it's like very similar to what you hear like actual soldiers describe combat as. It's like so it's like 80% of the time. Fucking nothing
You're
is
sitting
happening.
around with your dick in your hand telling jokes.
And then, like, 15% of the time, you're like, you got your gun up, and you're like, holy shit, they're nearby, and they're not, right? And then the other 5% of the time, you die instantly, right? Like, so, like...
Yeah, no, the damage model in that game is like, hey, are you wearing a bulletproof vest? You can take 2 more bullets now. Are you not wearing a bulletproof vest? You might take 2 or 3 bullets now.
Like, this is why I never understood why you put on a helmet in this game. Because
helmets, you get shot in the head once, and you're still good to go.
I've never seen you get shot in the head and not die instantaneously.
Yeah, because most people have figured out that if you shoot people in the face underneath the helmet, it's still a full headshot.
And then the other thing is, I don't understand how people are aiming for specific body parts, because when I see another person in this game, they're 3 pixels high, like a mile away.
Because
right?
you can get scopes that zoom a lot.
No, but see, here's the thing, though. They have the scopes. Like, I don't think anyone who plays this game has, like, an understanding of statistics on a level. It's like, so if I go to an environment where everybody has equal access to scopes, but it's like a random chance whether or not I'll get a scope, and there's 100 people, I'm not fucking getting the scope.
So rarely are you getting the scope that it matters.
Like, A, I'm not getting the scope. B, I'm not getting to the area where I don't have to be running breakneck to stay inside the fucking circle.
Alright, last night I'm like running and I'm playing with my buddy Quinn, and I'm like, hey, there's a guy over there. And you're like, what? I'm like, yeah, those 3 pixels by the lighthouse running back and forth.
I'm just like, fuck you.
Like, he's just like upset that was
How does anyone learn to have fun in this? Because here's what I'm imagining: 80 to 90% of the fucking player base for this game is they spend 20 minutes scavenging for shit. They get what they consider is a good kit. Suddenly realize they're outside the circle, run breakneck for the circle, and then jobber asshole, number 89, who was lucky enough to A, find a scope, and B, be inside the circle at the start of the game, is
just
waiting
sitting on the edge of the circle, like, right? Hey, buddy, like,
and then murders you.
Yeah,
and then you can't see him.
Wait, what is the circle?
So the circle slowly contracts.
Okay.
The map starts out and it's fully open. You can be anywhere you want, and then over time, it starts putting down, like, it puts down a big white circle on the map, and it's like, you need to be in here, or in 3.5 minutes, we're closing the rest of the shit. Okay. And then the force field comes in.
Okay.
And the force field gets progressively faster and more deadly.
Okay.
So, like, it's in your interest to be in the circle in the circle.
Pretty quickly, the circle starts moving faster inwards than your character can actually move.
Yeah, so, like, it's in your interest to be in that circle and paying attention to where it moves.
Is it always converging, like, towards the same center point?
No. So that changes every match.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
which sort of forces a difference in your map.
You start on a plane, right? And the plane goes over the map in a line, right? But
random line.
The line is different every time. So you and all your buds, if you have any buds, decide where you want to go. If you land and there's someone else there, guess what? You die. Like,
fighting them immediately.
No, that's not what I said. I said you die. Because,
usually, yes.
Because that's what I've seen every single time. Is that you land in the same place as someone else, they kill you.
Yeah.
Right?
It happens often.
So I don't. Yeah. I mean, like, this is my experience.
It's weird and it's goofy, and I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
How much is it?
It's like $20-$30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Vermintide tier.
Yeah, like it's... There's nothing like that it's explicitly doing well. It's more impressive that it works as well as it does currently.
Yeah, that is one thing I will say, is that I haven't seen any jankiness outside of the spectator mode.
Okay.
Like, literally zero. So, like, it does the thing it advertises to do.
Yeah.
Which game was it that had the spectator mode where you play as a seagull?
Oh, gosh. I don't remember.
I think Battlefield 4 did that?
The multiplayer game, like, where you play as a seagull and you could poop on people.
Yeah, or was it Arma?
Maybe Arma.
I remember seeing, like, video of it, of, like a match coming down to, like, 2 people, and, like, one dude's, like, a sniper hiding somewhere, and then, like, just a bunch of seagulls show up, because, like, everyone else is dead and they're bored. And he's like, fuck off, you're blowing up my spot, like, I'm trying to do my sniping here. And, like, this other guy's gonna see, like, 15 seagulls sitting around.
That's pretty funny. Were you playing anything else? because we talked about PlayerUnknown for a really long time.
Nah,
that game is interesting. It's
like
weird.
it's worth looking at if you're not interested in playing it. No, that's most of it. It's been mostly that.
8 hours of Stellaris.
Yeah.
Since I bought it yesterday.
I watched you play some Space Swords.
I did play some Space Swords, but that was
that's
like,
Warframe
it's very,
for you
like,
guys.
Very minimal. Well, we've already dropped that reference. But,
You never know.
Sure.
Tori and Trevor
Why
might
not?
not come back.
That was very minimal. Yeah, very minimal. Just sort of. Some new guns came out.
Well,
they got like a.
this is how the Warframe loop works. Matt has most of everything, and then new stuff shows up.
Well,
and
they came out with a revolver that you fan the hammer on it.
That sounds
it's pretty good.
No, that sounds good. The shooting feels good in that game, so that sounds good.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, we were talking about the engine earlier this week, and it's very pretty. It's gotten very pretty. The game
in like layers. They painted. They didn't draw.
Yeah, that was the word that you used before. So Stellaris,
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about that since it's been our life today.
Well, no, it hasn't, because you said you haven't played any other games, Keenan.
Yeah,
so you can't have played Stellaris.
I said we. You should talk. Matt's part of we.
You seared that Hydralisk stump.
Oh shit!
Hail Octopus.
I can get behind Hail Octopus.
I saw this thing the other day where somebody was like, okay, so like the Hydra logo, right? It's got 8 tentacles. What is a Hydra famous for? Having tons of heads.
Yeah, what?
What? So
Stupid Nazis.
You literally couldn't have gotten it more wrong.
Stupid Nazis.
So Hail Octopus.
Hail Octopus.
Hail Octopus.
Okay, I'm in.
Alright, checks out.
Hail Octopus Skull.
Yeah. Hail Octopus. Anyway, I've been playing Stellaris, and I tried playing as like military dudes.
What, like Conquering the Galaxy?
Yeah, I made a bunch of snapping turtles that are real good at killing people. And are like really angry at everyone else for existing.
Yeah, they're super xenophobic.
And they're called the Stationary Empire. Because they place a lot of value on not moving. And that's why they have slaves.
Just shelling people from fortified positions?
Because there's 3 colors. And only the green ones are allowed not to be slaves.
Okay.
Whoa, buddy. So we were talking about this on the way over. Paradox games Paradox Grand Strategy spreadsheet games turn you into a terrible person.
They make me evil.
Because it's really efficient.
Well, it's not just efficient because like I didn't rip all those dudes' dicks off in my Greek playthrough of CK2 just like because it was. I mean, it was the good thing. Like the guy.
Yeah, here comes the slippery slope of statements.
So, I mean,
so to provide background to that statement, Matt played a Greek emperor who just anytime anyone.
Well, no, because you have to let them out of prison if you castrate them.
Okay, so I got the order wrong. I'm sorry. You threw them in a dungeon, blinded them.
No. So it's more complicated than that because what I would do was I would castrate them, and then they would be really angry at me. They'd start like conspiring against me. So then I'd throw them back in prison and blind them. It was a process. Like it took about a year.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Like so that's worse. Right? Like it's not like I just did all this stuff at once because I was mad in the moment. No, it's like you came back to the checklist and you said, "All right, gotta go blind so and so today because that dude fucked up a year ago."
Yeah.
like that's way worse.
Way worse. Anyway. Yeah. So Paradox games make me into an evil asshole. So
they make everyone that way though.
No, but they like I'm just talking. I'm not trying to. I don't know what you do, but they make me into an evil asshole. So I was playing evil asshole Stellar Empire, and man, war is hard. And Stellaris.
War is hard.
Anyway, but that game is really good. Because again, I bought it. I played it 8 hours this weekend, like pretty much all just today.
Yeah.
And then I played Knights of Pen and Paper 2, which is a cool game. Where like it mixes like JRPG, like Final Fantasy 3 combat, with the conceits of like a role-playing game. right? So like I had the two party. I played this game for like 5 minutes, but the two party members I had a surfer, dwarf, paladin, elf, thief. Right, so like the person who's playing also contributes stats to the thing, and then it makes all these references, like all these in-jokes and stuff.
So the cool thing was that the surfer guy had this passive ability for being a surfer called chill.
Well, yeah, and once around he just removes a condition because he like doesn't give a fuck.
So there's like this weird metagame thing with that character type happening inside the RPG
God's
game.
first commandment.
Yeah. Chill.
God, it's such a good episode. Anyway, and then I played the Swapper, which I really liked the Swapper. I'm glad I picked that up. I like the art style.
What is the Swapper? I don't actually know what that game is.
Okay, so you are like this astronaut dude who gets into literally a soup can with like the lunar lander legs.
Is this the... No, I'm thinking of something else. Go on.
And then you like go to this planet.
There's a few games that look a lot like it.
You find the gun because like every game is Portal now. And the gun does a special thing. The gun projects clones of yourself that you control at the same time, and if you run into them, you reabsorb them. But basically, you use them to like solve a bunch of pressure plate puzzles. But then later, you like pretty quickly in the game, you get a secondary function where you switch identities with the clones.
Okay. So like body hop between them.
So Sparkle idea is that it sort of like fucks with your sense of identity of like who's the real you. It's like Swamp Man. Anyway.
Real Swamp Man.
Swamp Man's the real one.
Yeah. Swamp Man is the real one. Anyway,
that's what you meant by that, right?
Then I tried to play Meat Boy, but I think my controller was fucked up because Meat Boy was doing this thing where he was standing still, he was like fucking the ground. Yes. And it was like
getting real sloppy with the ground.
And just like the spray of meat was going everywhere, and I'm like not sure what was happening. And about a quarter of the time when I pressed jump, he wouldn't jump.
No,
which makes that game real hard.
No, that's unintended feature.
Anyway, so hopefully,
hopefully
next time I play Meat Boy, he's not trying to like emancipate the ground
by fucking
it. Then I played King Kaiju. That game updated and has objectives now.
That's cool. I really want that. So
that's the VR one, right?
That's the VR game where you're playing as Godzilla and smashing a bunch of buildings.
So I really hope that they do Vive Tracker support. The Vive Tracker just came out, which is like just a little puck that the lighthouses can track and can interface with peripherals. I think King Kaiju, you need to have the option of strapping those things to your feet so you can kick over.
Exactly, because that's the biggest thing. I put my mom in that game, and she just kept trying to stomp on shit, and I'm like, Mom, you have to use the technology to interface with the virtual reality. Like, you can't use.
This ain't a Kinect.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's gonna figure it out. But she's
like that would help your mom to say, Mom, throw away what you know about using the Xbox Kinect.
Yeah. My mom doesn't like.
Because she's been so exposed to that.
That's one of the reasons I threw her in the VR in the first place, because it's so intuitive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I tried to play Heaven Forest VR MMO, but that didn't work.
That sounds stupid.
I've been playing a shitload of Brigador.
Yeah.
That game,
yeah.
That game is so good.
Yeah, I keep hearing some fresh beats coming out of the living room.
So first of all,
it's got some music.
After nap time stuff at work, just get that blood flowing.
Some real what's the name of that genre?
What's supposed to be like dark ambient,
dark wave.
It's not dark wave.
It's got a name like that.
No, but like that's what's going on there.
Also double
makeup and Vanity Set. They're actually local. Found out the company that makes Brigador and the band that did the soundtrack.
That's cool.
So that's dope.
Yeah.
Brigador is getting a re-release in June.
Really?
So they're just like redoing the campaign and everything.
That's really surprising, actually.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're doing that, but
well, also like a while ago, after that game came out, like the developers of that sort of said hey, Brigador was kind of a financial failure for us. I don't think they it sounds like it didn't do horribly, but basically I think they didn't market it enough or something like that.
Yeah, I only found out about it because of H-Bomb.
So it just didn't take in the money that it needed.
The re-release is something to counter that on top of I could see them putting that on consoles or I would play that on my Switch.
Yeah, because I played it with a controller and it was awesome.
Yeah, I would play that on my Switch.
I had to go into the settings and change the setting because the way that it's set up is that you have controls relative to the orientation of your mech, and oh boy, if you got used to that, it'd probably be great. But goddamn, it fucks with your brain.
The whole game's isometric.
Yeah.
So like that's
isometric
weird.
But it's like, man, like the fucking stealth mechanics in it are great. Like once you fire, they heard the sound, they go towards the sound. If they don't find you, they'll start looking for you. You know,
it's good.
Yeah, that game's great.
It seems really smart and does a lot of detail work, even though it's a very high level view. Like people are very small in that game; they're like 3 pixels.
Yeah, and
but like every detail matters.
The world building that's going on is great.
It's really
like
cool.
So when I first started playing the game, I thought I was like some glorious rebel here to take down the great leader. No, man, like, I'm fucking conjuring it up. I am taking down a regime, like, for the CIA.
Reaganomics.
Yeah, I'm doing some Reagan shit.
Alright.
And then, play Transistor. Transistor's great. That's all I'm going to say about Transistor. Pillars of Eternity.
You've been playing that?
I started playing Pillars of Eternity.
Nice.
I sort of bounced off it because I was never really in the mood. But I made a big Angry Barbarian.
That's my problem with it, too.
I keep trying to buy flails from people, but every time I'm like, oh, merchant, I'll be back in a second. They just like die. So, yeah.
You're not allowed to commerce.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get to the bear cave?
Yeah, I killed the bear and I went and talked to the dude.
Did you kill the bear on the first try?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Not a lot of people do that.
Well, my character has 22 might.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like the bear, like I think is like really deliberately. So like really early in the game, after you create your character, there's a cave. If you go in the cave, there's a bear, and yeah, kudos to Matt. The bear wrecks most people, and it's kind of like the game saying like, hey, yo, this is kind of what this game's about. It won't be like this all the time, but like.
Watch where you step.
You need to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Watch where you step.
And it's cool too because like when in that sequence I went up to the NPC and the NPC was like hey, I was like, hey man, you look a little beat up. And he's like, oh, I had an encounter with a bear. My friend died. I'm very sad. Yeah. And you're like, cool. Well, I'm gonna go fight that bear. And he's like, don't do that.
Don't do that. And you're like, nah. Here's the bear's head.
The quest is not kill the bear that killed my friend.
No.
The quest is please don't die like my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like, please don't go kill the bear, or please don't go like get killed by the bear is what he thinks will happen. But then like fucking like Blood Feast Island, man. I don't even know what this race is yet.
Oh, you're in Amoana. I think they're meant to occupy this fantasy setting space for orcs.
Yeah, that's why like they're savage humanoids. That's why they have like the sharp teeth and stuff like that. So anyway, I was like, well, I got a great sword and chainmail, so I'm gonna go kill this bear. And he was like, don't do that, you'll die. And I'm like, no, I won't. And so I went and I raged at the bear, and so like I'm a barbarian, so
rage against the bear.
The bear comes up to me and I'm just like, okay, the barbarian sits down, I use my sit down move, the bear sits down, and then I just hit it with the sword like 3 times and it's just dead.
I'm very excited to hear more about your game. You can get a really goofy Amoana guy in your party that I think you'll like.
Cool. But I just playing other stuff. Then finally Mushroom 11, which was weird. I think I made you play this game briefly. This is a game where you like erase the mushroom and it grows on the other side.
Yeah,
and that's like how you move it.
That was a cool mechanic until I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that was my problem with the game too. I got to a puzzle and I couldn't like conceive in my brain how to use the movement mechanics it had given me to complete the puzzle. And I was like, cool, I'm not playing this game.
I hit this point where I was like, I see what you want me to do.
No, that was my problem. Is I couldn't even see what I wanted to do.
So I hit a point where I was like, I see what you want me to do, but this is exceptionally hard, and I don't care enough. Like,
so anyway, that's me. I'm done.
All right. Well, I haven't been playing very much. Seems like you've been playing a lot of different things, Matt.
I've been trying stuff out. Yeah. So I want to hear about your Dwarf Fortress.
So I played Dwarf Fortress for like a week and a half straight.
Yeah.
And my fortress had like a real like up and down history.
I remember there was like a day.
Some fun.
There was a day where you came to me and you said, "Matt, my fort is boring," and I was like, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And you're like, "Well, I have all these ideas." And the next day you're like, "Matt, my fort is done."
Yeah, but like the reason which it's done is like really kind of a like it's a bummer because like nothing exciting happened.
Yeah.
So in Dwarf where to start?
Start, man.
Where to start?
You don't have to get too technical.
What is Dwarf Fortress?
Dwarf Fortress.
That's the thing I love about Dwarf Fortress is that like shit just kind of makes sense in a narrative way.
Yeah.
Like you can explain stuff that happens in Dwarf Fortress to people like, yeah, okay.
So Dwarf Fortress is like this really deep level sim to start.
Deep level, good pun.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like when you start a new game, it generates a whole world's worth of geography
and history.
It will. Let me take it in steps. Then it applies it first just craps out like a planet. Then it
does.
Then it runs 1,000 years of erosion and forest growing and forest fires and storms,
rivers and mountains
forming. Then it populates this planet with intelligent creatures, like orcs and elves and kobolds, and it runs their history for a period of time that you determine at World Gen. My fortress started in the year of our stone 250, so we had a pretty short history. But I've seen people start Dwarf Fortress games that have 1,000-year histories, which is actually a super bad idea because it usually just means a bunch of civilizations get wiped out and that there will be a lot of one type of race.
Or a shitload of crazy undead shit going on.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, totally. I've seen World Gens where it's just it's all skeletons.
It's all the way down.
Yeah,
skeletons all the way down.
There's one necromancer, he really cranked it into gear, and everyone's dead.
Hey, it's our D&D game.
Yeah, skeletons all the way down.
So yeah, I settled my fort. We're digging. I put a limitation upon myself that my dwarves are not allowed to dig out any space that they don't intend to use. So that means we can't go make mines for the purpose of just mining copper, because we're never going to use those mine shafts for anything.
Yeah, you just leave that shit open. Wide open, usually.
Yeah, so I don't use that. I don't do that. So this...
Under your foot.
Yeah, it heavily constrains the amount of metal I have access to, which means I have to be very picky about how I use it. And it also means that my dwarves will make everything they can out of wood instead, which is kind of an undwarfy thing. But one of the consequences of this, almost the entirety of our industry in our fortress just runs on wood, is that when you cut down trees, if you cut down a lot of trees and there's an elven civilization nearby, they don't like it. And they'll send you a diplomat, and the diplomat says, we have noticed you dwarves like cutting down trees. We think this is an abomination. We would like you to limit your wood cutting to, this quota. And if you violate this quota, they will return with force and try and wipe you out. And if you fend them off, they will return with force again and again in increasingly large numbers. So as the years went on in my fortress, we repelled several goblin and elven invasions.
I was about to say, normally it's just goblins.
Yeah.
That's the normal invasion.
Armies of the undead can show up, too. That's a thing now.
Right.
But yeah, so at one point, just this enormous elven invasion showed up that had over 200 elves in it, and my game would just crash after a certain amount of elves were revealed.
That sucks.
And so it's just well, that's just the end of my fortress.
That's not capital F Dwarf Fortress fun.
These elves are kind of interesting, though. They rode domesticated tigers and wore turbans. That was the culture that the World Generation came up for them.
Some badass elves.
I could talk all day about the weird shit that happened in my fortress. We two of our nobles had they each had their very favorite thing that they like to order all my dwarves to make, and if it doesn't get made, then they tell the sheriff that a random person in the fortress is responsible for the wooden shield not getting manufactured, and the sheriff will just go hand out a beatdown on some poor dwarf and put him in the hospital.
That's terrible.
And so one guy really liked battle axes, which is bad for me, and one guy liked shields. And shields, whatever. We make some wooden shields, we throw them away when we're done. He'll ask us to make shields next month. The copper battle axes...
That doesn't help your elf problem, though.
Yeah, well, so the copper battle... The battle axes was the problem, because you have to use, one of only a few metals to make them, and, like I said, my metals are very constrained. And smelting down a metal item, after you've made it, you take a loss on the metal. So we just had an enormous stockpile of, 200 battle axes by the time my fortress wrapped. Yeah, I've been
Didn't you tell me something about a were person?
Oh yeah, we had several were creatures to turn into. The were monitor showed. So I dealt with the were monitor in my tried and true way, where I sent my military at him, and they killed him, but he injured a number of them, and if a were creature bites your dwarves, on the full moon, they'll transform into that thing. So the soldiers that were injured all went to the hospital, and we just locked the door on the hospital. And on the next full moon, I sent my archers down next to the hospital. There's firing holes in the hospital wall. And so
this has been Owen's preferred cleansing method for some time.
I mean, there aren't any like tells over who's infected and who's not.
Yeah.
So it's just...
This is like the only way to do it.
Yeah. So
it's a real like The Thing type situation.
Yeah. So there were 4 guys injured in that scuffle with the wear monitor, and 3 of them apparently were infected with wear monitorness.
Oh, too bad for number 4.
Yeah. So guy number 4 on the full moon gets ripped to fucking ribbons by 3 wear monitors.
Who then receive a lot of arrows.
Yeah. Also, he happened to have like broken legs, so he couldn't like run away from them.
Oh god.
Yeah. It was a real bad scene.
He's just there.
But
new snack.
But I could talk about Dwarf Fortress all day. So I'll try and keep it short. And what else did I play? I played a Pokemon ROM hack. That was kind of weird. That's about it. Should we talk about this game?
Sure, man. Let's talk about this game. Oh, and talk about this game, though.
All right, so we
Owen's
played.
good at talking about games.
Yeah.
We played Quadrilateral Cowboy. This is a game where
by Blendo Games.
Yeah, by Blendo Games. Blendo Games.
God, we love Blendo Games here at Blah, 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 blah. We love Blendo Games here at Bad Playstyle.
Get down on some Zombie Atom Smash.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, they made that.
Yeah, doesn't work on Windows 10.
That guy.
Doesn't work on
Blendo
Windows
Games.
10.
Yeah.
Fix it.
My good friend, Mr. Blendo Games.
Yeah. Senor Blendo Games.
Blendo Games boy.
To be clear, we are not actually friendly with Brendan Chung. We've never. Yeah.
Hey man, speak for yourself. I'll be friendly.
Hey. Okay. Yes. Brendan Chung. Let me put it a different way. Brendan Chung doesn't know who the fuck we are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a game. It's about being a little cyberpunk dirtbag. About being a little hacky.
You're wearing a little hijab though the whole time.
Yeah, a hijab or a hoodie.
Yeah.
It's
I thought because you see them in the illustrations, and it looks like a hijab to me.
I just had the worst word fusion that I have to say now, which
Hijabi?
is hijabi.
Okay.
Okay.
Hoodie, hijab.
Anyway, so yeah, you're a young woman named Poncho, and you're a part of a tiny collective of hackers that
who are also all women, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
really blocky, so it's kind of hard at first.
Yeah, they talk like everyone in this in Blendo Games. They have Charlie Brown teacher voice. They go wah 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 when they talk to one another, and aren't subtitled, so you're mostly meant to infer by what's happening. Like
the intonation's usually pretty good.
Yeah,
along with the motions.
Yeah,
and the facial expressions.
Yeah.
But it's got this like real like fucking weird ass aesthetic that I love, where it's like, what if like cyberpunk started happening in like 1965?
Yeah.
And then like this is like the full development of it by 1980.
Yeah. It's weird. There's like hover bikes
and space elevators.
But the hover
and giant stacks of RVs.
But like the hover bikes aren't like futuristic ass looking hover bikes.
Yeah, they look like Triumph motorcycles.
Yeah. They look,
with no wheels.
Yeah. That, and definitely have like gasoline engines. And like so one of the tools you can pull out in the game just is your vinyl boy or vinyl man.
Yeah.
It's a Walkman that plays vinyl records.
Yeah, it's just like this clamp you put on a vinyl.
Yeah. It's great. Did you ever use that when you're on the jobs?
I don't like any of the songs in the
game. I didn't like them enough. I want there to be like a music DLC. I think that'd be a hilarious way to make DLC for that game. Not that I don't think they would, but where to start unpacking?
So the game is a heist game.
Yeah.
It's 3D. It's first person, and throughout the course of the game, you get some tools with which to heist with.
So it's a lot of like console command stuff.
Yeah,
at least to start.
You're carrying around your 80s style hacker cyberdeck thing that you literally have to find places in the map to like throw it down and start typing.
Yeah, and like when you say throw it down, it's like an actual physics object.
You like throw it out and it like comes out and opens itself up, and then you can start interacting with it.
Bounces around.
Yeah. So like you gotta like, one of the things that I found really helpful was like, okay, I'm gonna put it here, and then I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and set up a delay timer, and then come back and snatch it and run through that door. And, there was some cool like weird puzzles to play with in this game.
And you definitely have to like put thought into where you plop it down so you can see what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
You can look up from your computer with your mouse look, which I like a lot.
Blind type.
Yeah.
Did that a lot.
It's real cool. Like it starts you off real gentle. Like
Yeah.
like the first level,
and it like builds the logic into its tutorializing.
I actually found the opposite to be true.
What?
The first level, the one the hospital or whatever.
The Satsuma Tower.
Yeah, Satsuma Tower. I found that to be
job.
I don't know. It was that was the most difficult section for me, with the most pronounced periods of intense frustration. And every other level I played after that was like pretty smooth. And really, like, a whole lot of fun.
Tubing timing thing?
I don't know exactly what it was about that whole level, but I find myself, like, I was so frustrated with that game, I played other games for an extended period of time. Like, multiple days. So, yeah, I did not like that level at all.
I mean, there's levels in that game I've run into problems with, but that's not the one. But I also have played that level a few times through. I ran into a weird issue where I bought this game when it came out. I actually pre-ordered it. This is like one of the few games I have ever pre-ordered, in at least in the last few years. And like it's got this like great like not really strong, and then plops you into like kind of technical gameplay. And like that whiplash when I first booted it up has like kept me from like digging into this game for a long time. And, like, getting into its mechanics.
Yeah, like, I was sort of, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I played just enough to get used to it, and then I was like, I gotta go do something else. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I've been so busy and, like, overloaded lately that I didn't want to sit back down and, like, that wasn't the game to play in the moment. Like, I want to go back and finish it, because it's pretty cool.
Well, and, so another thing it does I like, is that, like, every level is basically three runs of the same level.
Yeah, so you get more familiar with the territory.
You get more familiar with the territory, and they're all like each level is built on the same mechanics that you're interacting with. Mm-hmm. You know, so like the first one, the Satsuma job, like is just you using your deck to use console commands to deactivate the obstacles that are in your path.
Yeah, and it provides this like progression of complexity.
Yeah.
Throughout.
You know, like the first one is just you telling doors to open and lasers to turn off. And like the second run on Satsuma job is like you using commands to turn off cameras and install delays in between those commands so that you have time to like run through.
Oh yeah, and the game puts this artificial, or well, not artificial, but like basically anything that you open via hack can't be open for more than 3 seconds in a lot of situations, or the alarm goes off. Yeah. So you have to sort of work this around what you're doing.
Yeah. It's a limitation to like make you work at it, I guess.
Yeah, it makes you think about how you're gonna do the whole like that's where like figuring out where okay, I'm gonna put the deck here, I'm gonna punch in this big ass command, and then I figured out that if I left clicked, I picked up my deck as I executed, and I was like, this is really helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
I ran into a lot of game breaking bugs.
Really?
In this game, a lot. So normally when you press up, it's supposed to just put up the last command you did. Mm-hmm. In my game, most of the time when I pressed up, it would also execute that command. And then if you pressed up again, it wouldn't execute that one, but the next one up in the string. So like that whole feature was broken, which meant anytime I had to type in something that was longer than like one word, it became extremely tedious.
Right.
Extremely quickly.
Figuring it out once and running it.
Yeah, except for instead of like having a whole command string with like wait commands and like anything with a semicolon was just fucking torture for me. Right, because I was just having to type these commands over and over, and like anytime I would have to like trial and error or anything, it would just break.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's again, this is why I didn't enjoy that level at all, because that's the level where you have to type in super long commands with like wait commands, and if you mistype any of it, the whole thing breaks and it doesn't work, and then you get killed and have to restart.
Yeah,
because the gun comes out of the ceiling and shoots you.
Yeah, that's definitely like I think. The part of the game I like the least is in a number of levels, there will be a complex string of things you have to do, and a failure in executing it properly means your death, and you have to start to do it all again.
Yeah, it's really brutal.
There's a couple of levels in particular I'm thinking of where like it just became very tedious because I would fuck up, and it's just like okay, so now
like the last step, yeah.
Yeah, and then I have to, or worse yet, like you get to the last step and you don't really understand what you've done wrong.
Yeah, or like you miss a jump and now you're trapped in here and the gun's shooting you, or...
But,
yeah.
I don't know, do you guys want to talk about some of the weird-ass tools in this game?
Yes. I really liked everything after the first level. Like, the Weevil was really fun to use.
Yeah, so you get like a little Duracell battery on feet.
Yeah.
And,
with a camera in it.
Yeah, he's got a camera on it, and
a data jack.
I like one of the things I like is that you can see what he's seeing through a little TV you can pop down, and so I liked the process of ergonomics of like, well, how do I want to arrange that TV next to my deck?
Where do I put this?
So I can look at it easily.
There's a lot of your arms are over here and your head's over here.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And so you drive the Weevil around with console commands, and he can interface with certain things. Yeah. You basically send him into ventilation ducts and whatever to let you through. Then there's like a sniper rifle box.
Yeah, there's the aimbot, which I really enjoyed the aimbot too. I thought that was really fun with this whole zoom feature. I would have actually liked that one to be. I liked the second one where you had to shoot 2 buttons at once. Mm-hmm. That one was my favorite one, where you had to like type in a string and get it to go.
Yeah, so the aimbot's like a box you plop down, and the sniper rifle pops up the top, and you can aim it via console commands and like give it commands in sequence.
No, and you're not shooting people; you're shooting buttons.
Yeah, so. You shoot nobody with it.
Yeah.
The thing I really liked with the sniper rifle is that like you can fiddle around and find like the exact position you want it to, and tell it to get position, and it'll just spit out the string of numbers.
String, yeah.
So I liked the get position and set position commands. Like those felt very satisfying when I executed something with them.
I wish Weevil had that shit.
Yeah,
like something like that.
What else have we got? There's
the catapult
thing. That's as far as I got, because I got, like I said, I was really frustrated with this game for large portions of the beginning, and then I got to the one where you're siphoning people's brains out of their bodies.
Oh yeah,
at the clinic.
We can talk about the setting a little more. That's a weird thing.
I accidentally, because you can change the exit and entrance, which you have to do on the one where you're using the fan to jump around. Mm-hmm. And so I set the entrance and exit on a platform that disappears if you die. And then I shot a window out with the aimbot and suffocated, and then it respawned me in an infinite loop of dying over and over and over again. And I was like, cool, another game-breaking glitch. Like, cool. But, like, it's a one-person team. I don't blame Brennan. I can see that there's a good game.
Or I think I looked at the credits. There's 2 people listed as creating this one.
It's a small team.
Yeah.
I don't blame them. The game is good. It's fun. When it works, it really works. And when it doesn't work, it really fucking doesn't. Like,
like it ran smoothly for me, but I can understand how that game would be really frustrating with those limitations.
So there's a tool you get later that I think neither of you got to that I think is super cool. A few points in the game that you basically run into like a very like Portal-esque contrivance of like, this is a force field, and if you walk through this force field, your laptop doesn't come with you. This is an anti-laptop field. Mm-hmm. And like it means that you have to queue up commands outside the field and then go walk in it without your computer and
there's stuff. One of those in like the second level.
Yeah, so one of the ways you can get around this is you get this thing called blink.exe, and blink.exe allows you to write a command that will trigger anytime you blink. If you blink your eyes, and you get a button to blink your eyes. But it'll trigger off of how many times in a row you blink your eyes. So if you hit QQ, you blink twice, and then whatever command you have written to blink 2 will resolve. It's really cool. There's a level where you have to set up the aimbot to shoot a button that'll turn off the lasers for a few seconds, but to go through that laser door, you won't have access to your computer. So you have to write multiple commands to your laptop for it to shoot buttons when you blink. Except that the only line of sight to the buttons is through like a spinning mobile of lights, like ceiling lights. So the line of sight for your sniper rifle is like periodically obscured. So you have to like sit in this doorway waiting for it and blink your eyes when the line of sight is clear, and the sniper rifle will turn off the lasers and you dash through.
That's like I said, when this game works, it really fucking works.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, it doesn't. But I really enjoyed the section where you're playing badminton with
I like that
your
too.
Friends. I really enjoyed that section, and I was like, the only bad part I would say about this section is that she just keeps playing badminton with you.
Yeah,
right. Like she never stops.
Yeah,
there's no win condition.
The flow of that is definitely play badminton until you're fucking sick of it and start looking around the level for a way to get out.
To do. Yeah.
I like the characters in that game a lot. Like it's I feel like I said this about Oxenfree, but it's like also one of the few games where like you actually kind of get the sense that these people are actually friends, and we aren't. Like in no way are we just like told, we are shown that they are friends. Like the first time you go into your little VR rig and you come out and they're all very proximate to you.
Like they're doing other stuff.
But they're doing other stuff in this this way that like sort of conveys like a personal intimacy.
Yeah.
I like that you get to when you pick them up to go to the hacker.
Into their houses.
You can go into their houses and get an insight into their personality.
Yeah, totally.
And there's like a passed out dude in one of their houses.
There's a passed out dude in your bed.
Yeah.
they pick you up from your house one time.
Oh, I missed that one.
Also, like, but a delightful part of its world building is like all the shit that's written on the walls and on labels.
On the labels
and little plates everywhere. Like it's a real strange place.
Well, and it's set in the same universe as the last two Blocky People games.
Well, I think all of Blendo's games, I think
is Adam Zombie Smasher in the same?
So
universe?
Adam Zombie Smasher is definitely in the universe of Flotilla.
Okay.
And judging by how much you go to space in this game, I think we are meant to understand that this is in the universe of Flotilla.
Okay. All right. Well, sure. Why
not? Nuevos Aires is where Adam Zombie Smasher takes place.
Oh, okay.
And there are repeated references to Buenos Aires.
Yeah, Nuevos.
Or Nuevos Aires, excuse me.
Yeah. There's a lot of liquor that comes from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blendo charm for days.
There's one of the levels where when you're supposed to like break into this house and you get in and they're like, oh yeah, the thing you're looking for, it's hidden in the library somewhere. We don't know exactly where. So you have to go into the library and find which book to pull on.
God, okay.
To open up the secret vault. But there's like a jillion books there. So you get this opportunity to just look through all the weird book titles.
Nice.
It's actually it's kind of brilliant.
That's fun.
And I don't think any of them repeat. I think...
Right, so they went and then drew all these names on
that's cool.
textures. That's neat.
Yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about this game.
It's pretty great.
I had a pretty frustrating time with it. Outside of the time I enjoyed with it, there's two different games for me.
Yeah, I really like it. I just didn't have the right headspace for it.
I want to cover there's a last mechanical bit that I think you guys also did not get to that is actually super interesting. So you're one person playing through all this game by yourself, even though you have your friends. In the latter third of the game, you have to work as a team. Mm-hmm. This works is they each get a different ability set, and you'll start the heist as one, and you walk over to this door and you have open door ability or whatever, right?
Telnet. Yeah.
Well, no. One person has a saw.
Oh, okay.
And they can saw open this door, and you go in and you'll reach the first obstacle that this character can't. Then you can exit out of the simulation and enter into the other person, and a ghost of the person you were just playing as will hop down and do all the things you did in sequence and open that door, and you get to run along with them.
So you have to start layering.
Yeah, and then when you get past that obstacle, you exit out and go back into your other person.
This is giving me a headache.
It's way more manageable than I'm making it sound like.
Okay. It's still I'm
especially since the third player option is the caser, who you can start the level as this person, and you have the abilities of everyone and can fly through the air. So it's up to... Just hold on. It's up to you to fly through the level and just, check it all out and, peel it apart and see how it works.
Okay.
But you can't actually complete the level as this person.
Sure. You have to then go execute it with the regular characters.
Yeah, and then you have to go in with the other two
characters. That makes it less daunting, because it means, theoretically you could figure it all out and then not necessarily hit a fail state, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for example, when I was playing the caser, I'm kind of fucking my way through the level, just sawing things open and going through, and I know that, timers are about to run out and stuff like that, and, the turrets pop out, and it's just whatever, just keep...
Right, shut up, around. Game, I'm learning the level.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so, those levels are probably the ones I've failed at the most, but they are also really satisfying. There's one where you have to do the whole level in 35 seconds, and it's actually a really simple objective, but you have to be everyone has to be doing their job the whole time. It's really cool. You feel like a fucking heist crew.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Right, that's the thing about this game that I really like, is when it first displays to you what it expects, you're like, oh, that's kind of rough. But then when you pull it off, there's a really good satisfaction to that.
Yeah.
When you're allowed to pull it off. I could see how not being able to code things
just not,
as intended
not even
would
really
be
being
really
able
shitty.
to play the game as the game is intended to be played.
That sucks.
This happens frequently to me. Still.
I don't know, what else is there left to say about the game? It's got a couple of really good cinematic set piece scenes.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff.
It's got some real blend up and ash. There's one in particular I think you guys haven't seen that
is on
very good. It has an art book too. Did you guys look at the art book at all?
No.
You can just look at all the models that are in the game, like up close, and like read all the stupid label.
Okay.
Stupid, you know what I mean? Like the fucking like goofy ass labels.
Yeah. Okay. That's neat.
Yeah.
What we got?
Keenan, talk about wrestling. Make me angry.
So I think my dumbest thing in wrestling this week is actually a local thing.
So nothing happened in wrestling, right? There was no
things.
No big wrestle party.
Oh, there was WrestleMania last week, and that was really big and ridiculous and kind of. I'm doing this thing with wrestling because like. There's a lot of people who watch wrestling and then they're like, this is terrible, I hate it. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I'm not trying to be the guy who just is mad at everything that wrestling's doing, because if I enjoy wrestling, why am I watching wrestling and just to be mad at it, right? Like, that's sort of... Okay. I sort of hit this wall with criticism in wrestling where I'm like, I don't want to be that guy anymore. So I've been, like, just sitting back and enjoying the show, and WrestleMania was really, really fun because I let go of my expectations for it. It was just like, hey, just do WrestleMania stuff and I'll enjoy it, and I did. Instead of like, because like the main event at WrestleMania this year was Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, and nobody likes Roman Reigns, because he's been jammed down our throat from like a narrative. Like, he doesn't really earn anything the way wrestlers normally do, and he isn't interesting.
You haven't made us angry with wrestling yet.
So Roman Reigns won, and everyone was really mad. That was the WrestleMania thing. But my dumbest thing that happened in wrestling this week is that at a local wrestling show, the fire alarm went. Now this is real. Get the fuck out of the building. And then on top of that, the people who had just walked out for a match are like supernatural demon people. So they just sat in the ring as long as they could before the fire alarm like got really bad. And they just cackled and did like, we're evil, the fire alarm stuff.
Alright. You made me angry, so there you go.
It was weird and good.
Alright.
Success has been achieved.
Yep. That happened. You want to talk about anything VR, Owen?
Yeah, I have one thing I played in VR. I'm a Kickstarter backer for the Foo Show.
Yes.
This is relevant to the
Will Smith.
This week's reading. Yes, Will Smith. Yeah, just go Google Will Smith and you'll find the person I'm talking about.
At Will Smith on Twitter.
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
He's gotten an offer and refused it.
Yeah. Anyway, Will Smith's Foo Show. Foo Show is like a VR app where you can.
It's like a talk show, right?
Yeah. You can listen to Big Willie talk to developers in VR, and they have these weird stylized blocky Max Headroom style characters, and they talk to the developers. But the cool thing about it is that they will have adapted the environment from the game of the developers they're talking to. And
they did Firewatch, right?
Yeah, they did Firewatch and they did Quadrilateral Cowboy. And
okay.
And so you can actually pick up props in the room and look at them and like make a copy of it basically. Like the main room where you and your friends hang out in Quad Cowboy with the computers and stuff is the room they picked. And like you can pick up like the little tweezers on the table and stuff like that and pick them up. And if the people who are talking, they can pick them up too, and you can just snatch a copy of it out of their hands. So like you can check it out as they're pontificating about this.
Right, they may be talking about a specific item or something like that. So then you can go examine it yourself. That's neat.
So that is super fun. Unfortunately, I think as great of a sort of set as that level is, there are so many cooler levels in that game that I would want to putter around with.
But I also think they're sort of allowing those things to exist in the game is probably I bet that's an intended choice that they.
I suppose so.
That they did.
Anyway, so that's a thing I did in VR.
Cool.
I played some Ruckus Ridge.
Yeah, we did that the other day.
Yeah, that's a cool game.
I like that game.
Yeah, I wish it were like a little bit better, but like
we didn't mention any of the games we played at that party.
Oh yeah, I guess I played some other games too. We played Jousting, a game where you play as penises that are like fucking each other
with buttholes.
Yeah, they have buttholes on the back, and
that game is surprisingly like not sexually charged for what's going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Like it's definitely it's
very goal oriented.
It's just some penises, man.
And it causes people at parties to yell things like "Get in my ass," "Get in me." It's good. Yeah. We played some speedrunners, a bunch of Jackbox games.
Yeah, but whatever. We're past our game roundup. Like
Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Yeah. Ultimate Chicken Horse. That's a good game.
Good ass game.
Anyway, do we want to talk about Persona 5 briefly?
I don't really have anything to add to that conversation.
No, me either. It's just really fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just go over it briefly. So, like, this video game, the people who make adventure games suck apparently, and they don't want their games to be streamed or put on YouTube, and so Atlas is basically threatening to ruin anyone's career who puts any part of Persona 5 past a certain point on YouTube or on Twitch, which is super fucked up. And like
continuing the classic debate of do we own this game or not when we buy it.
Apparently we don't, because they're talking about putting a copyright strike, so you don't own the content at all, so just fuck you.
Yeah, which sucks. And it only happens so often, but it sucks every time.
It's like it's this recurring thing when the video game company gets really scared because what they're selling is the story, not the gameplay. Right, and it's like, welcome to 2017, where Bethesda would rather send copies of their video games to YouTubers than reviewers from magazines.
Well, that's a little different because Bethesda's games don't have any story.
No, but I'm saying like that's YouTube and Twitch. YouTube and Twitch are important to video games, at least here in America. I don't know how important they are in Asia. I know they have like an alternative thing going on in Asia.
Yeah, China's got its own
Twitch
thing
or whatever. But like these are important ways that people look at the games they want to buy, or
right, or even function as a community.
Yeah,
right, like
or function as a community hub.
It's
the way that Steam would really like community hubs to function, even though those are just piles of shit posts about the game.
It's changed the way we interact with each other about games.
Yeah, and but like what.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you can't put that chicken back in the coop.
Yeah.
It's now Big Chicken.
Well, with that downer.
Oh, but there's good news.
What's the good news?
You had a birthday.
Yeah, I am.
And I had a birthday. Yeah. So happy birthday, us.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I had over 3,000 birthdays.
Whoa!
Since the last time we met. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
That's
man.
impressive.
Thanks for showing us up on our fucking birthday.
Yeah.
This is great too, because this will probably air like months after your birthday.
Much closer to your birthday.
We talk about stuff that dates pretty much every.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can track the dumb wrestling moments.
Anyway, where can they find us?
Well, in the news we talking about.
Where can they find us?
If you have comments, questions, and corrections, you can send them to badplaystyle@gmail.com.
Only if you have all three, though.
Yeah.
We're also on Reddit. Something Bad Playstyle Reddit. I don't understand how Reddit works.
Bad Playstyle. If you want to talk to the other
Bad Playstyle listener. We're on Twitter. It's probably written somewhere near.
Oh yeah,
watching this.
Well, we don't have like a Bad Playstyle Twitter account.
No, but like we are on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm at Savory Scrimp. That's shrimp with a C.
And apparently. So.
Yeah.
And you can find me at O'Harriman if you want to find like the most boring Twitter account, because I never tweet anything. I just read what other people post.
If you want to find me, you can get fucked. Yeah. So I won't talk to you.
Well, we'll give out your BattleNet tag.
Yeah.
AM 1250. Kids Bop. Or whatever, I don't remember.
Kidstar Radio.
It's Kidstar. Yeah. Disney.
Kids Bop is those fucking shitty CDs.
Yeah, it's the shitty CDs.
Not to be confused with Mbop.
So I believe it is my turn.
Okay. For a game pick?
Yeah.
Is it game pick?
I need you to tell me that it's my turn.
Yeah, I believe you.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna play Beat Cop.
Beat Cop.
Beat Cop.
Why am I doing this?
I don't know.
Oh, I have that on my Steam wish list.
Yeah.
That game looks interesting.
Yeah.
What is Beat Cop?
I don't know.
Okay. It's a game where you're a cop on a beat.
I read the little blurb. It's a like adventure game. You were a detective. You got busted down to beat cop because you got framed for murder or something.
Wow,
Along those
That's
lines.
America.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. That Pepsi ad, huh?
I sent you that Mentos thing, right?
No.
We got a thing to watch after this.
Okay. Well, thank you, bye, Bobby. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening, team.
Later, Tori and Trevor.
Our theme music is made by my good friend Benjamin Busey. You can find his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/basicbenji206.